Chris, bienvenido, welcome.
Well, thanks for having me, Juan.
Yeah, so this has been an amazing year. We've had all kinds of special elections. Now we have one. The second Suffolk, we have a lot of, it's a very diverse district. You have Charlestown and Chelsea. And so tell us a little bit about yourself, Jane.
Well, Juan, first of all, thanks for having me on. I appreciate the opportunity to come on the program and speak to the viewers. My name's Chris Remmes. I'm a proud resident of Charlestown. I've lived here for the last 22 years. I grew up in Milton on the South Shore. I went to Catholic Memorial High School, and I graduated from Mass Maritime in 1987. In 1990, I suffered a traumatic accident where I broke my neck and I was paralyzed for a short time. After that accident, when I recovered both financially, emotionally, and physically, I moved to Charlestown in 1992. I lived in the Navy Yard, and I've been in my current location where I live now for the last 20 years. I'm running because I believe that our neighborhood our neighborhoods of Charlestown and Chelsea are ready for a bold, progressive leader. And I believe that my experience as a realtor, I believe that my experience as a small business owner with an MBA, as the Democratic Ward Chair, and makes me uniquely qualified for that position. So that's why I'm running.
So this would be the first time running for elective office for you?
This is my first time running for elective office, yes.
But you seem to be very active, though, in the political ward chair. And
I've worked, while I was in Charlestown, I was very involved in a number of campaigns, Jared Barrios' campaign, the governor's campaign, both of the governor's campaign, and Elizabeth Warren's campaign, yes.
So you're not new to this process.
Right. Well, as I say to people, you don't get to be the Democratic Ward Chair by being a newbie in politics. Yeah?
Well, that's what we celebrate here, active participation in our democratic process. We're so fortunate. Absolutely. So tell us, what are some of the issues that you think should be tackled? The statewide issues that you would be addressing and voting on, and maybe some of the issues in particular to your district.
Okay, so I think the three issues that I've been talking about the most on the campaign are: one, casinos. I'm against the casinos. Two is raising the minimum wage to a living wage. I believe that $11 an hour by 2016 is totally reasonable, the Senate proposal. And I also have been campaigning on a proposal for early childhood education. It was recently endorsed by the Massachusetts Teachers Association.
Oh, wow. So tell me on this, the casino, you said there's going to be a vote pretty soon.
Tomorrow in Revere.
So why are you opposed to this?
I'm opposed for a number of different reasons. I believe they're quality of life issues for the neighborhoods and not really moral issues. I'm not opposed to gambling, but I think that if some people want to gamble, I think they should go to the middle of the woods or to the middle of the desert. I think that a lot of the benefits of the casinos have been overstated, and I think that a lot of the costs are being kind of hidden and not really people aren't being upfront about those. So that's really why I'm against them. I think also for the casino in Everett, I think the traffic impacts through Sullivan Square would just be intolerable for Charlestown. And I think that for Chelsea and Charlestown, the mitigation with getting rid of the toxic waste out of the Everett casino, I just think is not worth the effort.
So you think the location is important, right? It seems like it has tremendous impact in surrounding communities.
I don't think that there's any compelling reason to put a casino in an urban area.
Okay. And you talked about minimum wage that might apply on that. Definitely, you see the upper portion, management and so on, making more and more money. And then the minimum wage with the rents and the cost of living, people can't really afford, and it just hasn't been keeping up with inflation over the years. Why are you championing that raise in the minimum wage?
Well, I think that there's something just in our country right now that's just out of whack. I think when we look and we see the stock market at an all-time high, and when we see the number of people on food stamps at an all-time high as well, I think something just doesn't add up. I think people have too much power and influence. And I think that the people at the lower end of the economic scale don't have the power and don't have the voice, which is what's causing a lot of this, what's going on right now. And I think it's unsustainable.
And also speaking about wages and employment, we see like the numbers in unemployment have been creeping up in our state. any ideas on how to make sure that we create some jobs? I mean, we have a lot of industries here that are thriving. You know, we are in the nanotechnology, in medicine, and so many. Do you have any ideas about that?
Well, I think that we want to support the education industry. We want to support hospitals. We want to support the financial services industries and make sure that we're doing things to keep them moving forward. But I think that we also need to encourage small businesses in seed, small, innovative industries, which I think is just the opposite effect of that's something that a casino is going to have on the area. Casinos and these big box stores tend to suck from the neighborhood and not add to it. So I feel that we need to encourage small businesses. I feel that there's a proposal right now in the State House to dredge Boston Harbor so that we can bring more ships in. Because of the Panama Canal has been reconfigured, I think we need to take a serious look at that. I think we need to look at green jobs. So I think there's a lot we can be doing to make sure that we keep growing jobs here in Massachusetts.
Yeah, we have so much waterfront to develop, and there's so much promise in that maritime. And you said also childhood education, and it's a proven fact that kids do so well, and that's the key to all things. So what are your ideas on that?
Well, I think that all kids should have access to pre-kindergarten. There's a lot of data that suggests that when kids show up in school in kindergarten and they're not ready, that they lag behind for a long time. So we as a school system end up paying to bring them up to speed. So we pay now or we pay later. So I think we're better off being more proactive. And I think that we all know that education is the key to opportunity and the key to success in this country. So I think that your economic background shouldn't determine what kind of education you get. I think everybody should have a great education.
So on these issues, in particular in the district, definitely important. Chelsea went through some receivership with education, and they've had a lot of success in many areas. What are some of your ideas, especially in the district, and what have been your involvement in that area?
With regard to education?
Right. Have you worked with some of the schools, or have you?
I have not. So I planned on getting into this race in October against the 17-year incumbent when I thought that we needed a lot of change. And I thought that I would have probably a lot more time to get up to speed with a lot of these issues. But I do know that in Charlestown, in particular, that we have a wide. I think everybody thinks of Charlestown and we think of the $1 million townhouses, but we also have our fair share of people who live at the lower end. And I do know that that informs my decision on why I knew that early childhood education was going to be a big piece of all this. And I think there's very much a similar situation going on in Chelsea. Since I've been in the race, I've knocked on over 3,500 doors, which is a lot in 2 months. And I can tell you that I've seen a lot of what I thought was going on just with families who need more support.
Yeah, there's definitely great contrast in income levels. And so you said you were going to run, so you were going to run regardless, right? You were on this race.
December 4th. It's all on the record. I was going to run on December 4th. Yep.
So if somebody wanted to get involved in your campaign, what
I think the best thing you could do is you could go to my website, which is Remmes, REMMES.org, and you can send me an email from there. My phone number is on there, 617-398-0018. You can read about my issues. I have a bunch of issues. I have a Spanish section on my website as well. So if somebody isn't an English-speaking person, which there have been a few of those, you could go to my website and read where I stand in Spanish as well.
Well, one of the questions, on immigration, what a position on that? There are a number of things before the House now about license, being able to license drivers and in-state tuition. And are you familiar with some of those?
I'm familiar with most of those, yes. And I think the broad general question would be that I got into this race because I didn't feel that the progressive values of the district were being reflected. So I jumped into the race to be the bold progressive. And now that the race has changed, I still feel that I'm going to be the bold progressive. So I'll be very pro-immigrant, and I feel that I want to be there and I want to be people's voice.
Okay. The one thing, if you were elected, how would your staff, what would be the makeup of your staff?
Well, if I get elected, I don't know that I'm going to have a very big staff, to be honest with you, Juan.
Just a few.
But a few, maybe one. So, like I said, I will say I'll do everything I can do to reach out to the Latino community, to the Spanish-speaking community. And I think that, you know, my actions speak louder than my words. I have a Spanish section on my website. When I've been in neighborhoods that I knew that were Spanish-speaking, I bring literature that's been translated. So I would hope that I would expect that I would have a Spanish-speaking person on my staff as well.
Right. See, that's important to make sure that there's access, and that clearly goes a long way. So really appreciate, and then the inclusion and being part, because you have a very large Latino population
in both Chelsea and Charlestown.
Yeah, a lot of folks don't realize.
A lot of people don't realize that.
Yeah. And okay, as a matter of fact, there's 3 candidates, and the election is coming up now on the 5th, right?
The 4th.
The 4th of March.
Well, it depends. If you're voting for me, vote on the 4th. If you're voting for the other guys, vote the 5th.
No confusion here. So it's Tuesday, the 4th. Marzo 4 es la elección. Bien importante, si usted vive en el área de Chelsea y en el área de Charlestown, es importantísimo. Los candidatos demócratas, hay 3 candidatos, tienen unas posiciones bastante progresivas, y esta es una posición tremendamente importante porque estas personas van a estar votando en mucha legislación que tiene gran impacto en general, ¿no? Educación, todas las cosas de importancia, y especialmente es un área donde hay muchísimos latinos, en el Charlestown y en Chelsea, por supuesto, so que nadie se quede en casa. Over here we celebrate 8-1 voters.
Good.
We get really happy when we see the turnout go up, these special elections. Hopefully, we'll continue to make sure that people are aware that this election is happening. So tell us some of the other issues, particular to your district, that you would address. I know there's some violence in certain areas, and what are some of those other issues that are particular that you want to address?
So I think certainly crime is a big issue everywhere. Everywhere in the low income and the high income, crime is an issue. So I think we need to make sure that our police are well funded, and I think that we need to make sure that our police also reflect the communities that they serve, and I think we need to make sure that the police are sensitive to the needs of the community. I think drug enforcement, is not going to solve a lot of the drug problems and the crime problems that we have. I think we need to really look at rehab programs and drug education programs. I think those are a lot of the big things, and then also, I think affordable housing and affordable housing is another big issue that I've been talking with people about, and I've been very active down at the Bunker Hill development in Charlestown, and been to a couple of the tenant task force meetings, and talking with a lot of the tenants down there and the residents down there about what's going on.
That affordable housing definitely is key. So as we develop the economy, we got to make sure that working class can afford.
Right.
And in many of the neighborhoods now, Charlestown is one example, but even Chelsea now in certain areas, and you see a lot of the old neighborhoods where you had the 3-deckers and a lot of families. Now the prices of the condos are amazing. So there are opportunities. There are some lots, and there's still some buildable lots and so on. What are some ideas of the ones that you've seen that you think should be maybe replicated, or maybe?
Well, I think we need to just take a look at the whole way that we're approaching affordable housing in the city of Boston right now. I think we need to probably put a brain trust together and look at affordable housing, because I think what we're doing right now isn't working, to be honest with you. So I think we need to be a lot more aggressive with affordable housing. I don't know that I have a specific issue for you today, but I just think we need to be more aggressive, because I think, like I said, what we're doing isn't working.
Well, it's an exciting time, in the city of Boston, especially. We have a new mayor and a number of new city councilors, and the mayor has said that is one of the priorities. And in the whole district, there's a need for for that affordable housing. The other issue is transportation. You know, you talked about the water transportation, and then of course public transportation. That is so necessary to make sure that.
You know, and I think the Silver Line going into Chelsea in the next couple of years, I think is a very exciting development. I think we need to look at everything that we can do with that. I think we need to probably increase, you know, water transportation, the water taxis. Maybe from Chelsea would be another good idea. I'm not sure if somebody's taken a look at that, and I know that from Charlestown we have those. I think we need to. I think public transportation, as we look at the city and the city grows, but the highways aren't and they get more congested, I think we need to take a good hard look at public transportation.
In the district, you got a lot of area with maritime and industrial use. And there was a lot of talk before about, you know, the salt piles that you have and so on. And recently we had so much need for salt. So any ideas on that issue?
Well, you know, I think the salt piles, you know, they've been there for a long time. I don't know that they're going anywhere, but I think we need to kind of, you know, be vigilant about how we store the salt. We throw tarps over them, but I don't know if that's the best solution. So I think maybe we could have maybe a more permanent structure or something over there. So yeah.
Okay, and so tell us why are you the right person for the job here? If you were to tell the viewers here, this is why you should elect me.
Well, like as I said before, I think that the district is hungry for a bold, progressive leader, and I think I am that bold, progressive leader. I think I was on December 4th when I jumped into the race. I think I was on January 6th when the race changed, and I think that I have been on a lot of the issues. I think I've been out in front on a lot of the issues.
Okay. Well, are there any other issues that you would like to address?
No, I think, like I said, I just would like to thank everybody for the opportunity to be here and spend some time with you.
Okay, so no dejen, tenemos aquí a Chris Remmes, uno de los candidatos para representante por el distrito 2nd Suffolk. Este distrito incluye Chelsea y parte de Charlestown. Son áreas donde estamos muy representados. No deje de votar. Chris, thank you for coming by.
Juan, it was a pleasure.
And I'm very glad to hear that you have your information in Spanish. Tell us again, we put up on the screen your website again. If you would.
My last name, REMMES.org.
So, si le gustó lo que tiene que decir el candidato Chris Remmes y se quiere envolver, ahí tiene la página. Lo importante es que no deje de participar. Todas las personas que conocen residentes, especialmente de nuestros latinos, por favor, déjenle saber que esta es una elección de suma importancia. Hay muchas cosas que van a estar votando en la Cámara de Representantes y en el Senado que son importantísimas para nuestra gente y, por supuesto, todas las decisiones de día a día, educación, transportación, impuestos, cómo se gasta el dinero, esas decisiones se hacen en esa Cámara y la persona que está sentada en esa posición tiene una gran responsabilidad y la única manera que van a hacer lo correcto es que usted esté muy activo y bien informado. Le pedimos que nadie deje de votar. So we ask everybody to make sure they vote. Here, that's what we celebrate. We give an aplauso.
Make sure your voice is heard.
Thank you, Chris, for coming by
I appreciate
and sharing with us.